I've just wrapped up a massive editorial at Sunnyside Estate on the Mornington Peninsula, and I wanted to share some of the things that I noticed as a photographer. From someone who's been to a lot of weddings, I think I have a good grasp on how a venue can change the experience for couples. Like, along with talking about the light and how beautiful Sunnyside is, I also want to talk about the little things that couples might not know when they first arrive for a site visit. The first impression that I noticed during our shoot was the views of the ocean are just insane. You're looking down at the horizon and it creates this perspective that you don't see that often with the ocean. So guests walk around, first you see the gardens and then it's just a wall of ocean in front of you. And I think it really sets the tone for the day because guests, straight away they'll pull out their phones, they'll take a selfie. They're like, oh my God, where have we just walked to? Only an hour from the CBD, but it's 180-degree views of the ocean and from this elevation that you're just not expecting. And then you pair that with the building and the manicured gardens, like guests are just completely wowed. It doesn't reveal itself all at once. So you see the gardens, you see that amazing view, and guests don't actually realize that there's more of that in store. When they go back and they first see the piazza, when they walk into the grand hall, like it's kind of just wow after wow. And I think that really sets the tone and really makes guests feel, different to other weddings they've been to before. There isn't one backdrop of the day. It all feels cohesive and connected. But once you leave one spot, like if you have your ceremony at the helipad and then you head up to the gardens for your cocktail hour or canapes, you don't, unless you want to sneak off and take a selfie with your partner, you don't really go back to that spot as a guest. Couples definitely go back to the helipad for sunset photos as it's so beautiful there, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But once you move from one space to the other, you kind of don't enter the next one again, and moving to those different areas brings a different energy. Like when you're having a cocktail in the gardens with the views behind you, everyone's just talking about how beautiful this place is. And then you move into the piazza, like I can imagine a mariachi band, guiding the wedding party all the way to the piazza. And then the piazza it's still spacious, but it's not as vast. You're surrounded by these beautiful Italian-inspired buildings. So the vibe changes again. And it's still one of I see it still as one of higher energy, but it's just of amazement and wow factor. I think it's just a very impressive and beautiful venue to have a wedding. Because it changes the dynamic and because, you're in the piazza now, so people are closer and, they've had one more drink. The music is, you can hear the music, it's bouncing around a little bit more. It's just cool to have such variety in the spaces and how they're used and what kind of mood that creates. I think you can also have, I'm getting inquiries at the moment for, only 50 guests at Sunnyside as well. So I can imagine a long table down the middle of the piazza as their outdoor reception space, candles. I think it can be a quiet space as well, with some subtle music playing in the background. It really feels like you've walked off the coast in Italy and you've walked down some cobblestone footpaths, and then the little area opens up. It feels like someone could pop out of one of the higher windows and hang up a towel on the washing line. It kind of has that vibe, which I think is just incredible. Ceremony locations, you have the two spots I think that would be the most popular, which is the helipad and the gardens. Both have incredible views of the ocean. I think at the moment most couples are going for the gardens area, and I think that's because you can use less styling. The helipad is a lot more minimal. It's absolutely beautiful. The concrete work, whatever it is, the pavement, it's so beautiful, but it does require a little bit more styling because it is so minimal. where the gardens are framed by the structure there. The stairs are a beautiful spot to stand with, you know, the bridal party on either side, and the vines all hanging off. It's just stunning. The only thing with the gardens area is that there's already colours there, so you have to kind of work with what's already there to make it cohesive to how you want it all to look. But you definitely can get away with a lot less styling. Like, I've seen no styling basically. Standing up on the stairs there has a really like high-end look. I think like the helipad can have that too, but you just need to elevate it. One great thing about Sunnyside is it doesn't force any style on you. Like, it does have that European look, but you can play it up or play it down however you like. It's sophisticated. Like, the gardens are elevated and beautiful. You know, it has an editorial look. I think that's why this editorial looks so good. You know, it's modern, it's romantic. You can focus on the more rough areas if you'd rather the real authentic look, like the piazza. And then depending on how you choose to style it, you can bring in more textures, you can bring in less textures. You know, you can modernize the whole place with the different elements that you use yourself. But I think even as is, it is just romantic, modern, and like fun. To me, the venue eludes fun and encourages like excitement and wonder and just a really good time for guests. I think like that's one thing that people walk away from the venue as guests, just saying like that wedding was incredible, and how was, you know, the ocean view, how was the piazza, like, oh my god, the food, like the music. It's just like a perfect vessel to bring all that together and, you know, really wow guests and celebrate you guys as a couple. Okay, I've talked about a lot of things apart from the photography. So the light there is beautiful. The ceremony spaces, both of them, the sun's on your back, so whether you're at the helipad or the gardens, you're not staring, like your guests might be staring directly in the sun, but as long as you guys don't have to stare in the sun, then all the photos look amazing. The spaces are so beautiful that you can shoot through guests and show more of the view, or you can get far away because there's lots of space. You can put a drone in the air, you can get beautiful aerials. Like for video, I've seen top-down shots of the bride walking down the aisle. It's just, you can't do that at all venues because, you know, there's not enough space or the venue doesn't allow it, but Sunnyside really leans into those kind of things. And then the piazza, you know, as usually there as the sun is setting, the sun shines over the top of the buildings, again backlights everyone, which just creates beautiful contrast. The building like creates shadows, so, you know, it changes as the day moves and as the light changes. So like as a photographer, I feel like I can get creative and I can notice something that I didn't notice last time, and it's like, you know, let's go over here and get a portrait because I've never seen the light do this like this before. You know, because you haven't stood in that exact time at that exact moment, and the light's bouncing off this beautiful building, creating this reflection. Like there's just it's an exciting place to shoot because it is so different and it's coming in from such a beautiful angle. The other thing I'll say is sunset photos, like the light down at the helipad I touched on before, but incredible. You have the view of the ocean behind you. It's kind of unbeatable as a sunset spot. Like you're elevated, you have the rolling hills, then you have the sharp line of the horizon, you know, the vineyard behind you. There's just so many ways you can shoot it. You can get way back, you can get nice and close, you know, walking down the path towards the helipad. First you go through the gardens where you've had your cocktail hours or your ceremony. There's the fountain up at the top in the garden area. That's also a beautiful spot. Just beautiful light shining up over the hill off the water. It's just super stunning. To wrap up my thoughts on Sunnyside, I think it encourages a couple that is looking for a fun and like an experience as their wedding. Something that really looks after their guests. It's somewhere that I'm always excited to shoot because it is so beautiful. Yeah, reach out if you are looking for a photographer at Sunnyside. Put a comment down below if you have any questions, anything else I should touch on next time. I'm gonna do a few of these venue reviews to try and help you guys find the best venues around Melbourne. It's exciting for me because I love shooting these places, so I'd only make videos on venues that get the Morgan tick of approval. So thanks so much, guys.